really all surrounds this man right here. It's Brandin Cooks signing a $39.6 million deal that keeps him in Houston. This deal is coming on the I guess you would say the heels of them looking to trade him. And then all of a sudden they extend him for 2 years, giving him this $39 million extension. I think this is a very smart move on the Houston Texans' part because this locks up a guy who's going to be that consistent wide receiver in that room for whatever quarterback you have, whether it's Davis Mills, who AJ and I enjoy, or whether it's Davis Mills, the guy who Aaron doesn't enjoy. So I think this is a great signing. What say you, Aaron?
I don't know. We talked about rumors, and I even, had a little bit of inside information from Brandin Cooks' family. He's out here in Stockton about how Brandin Cooks was looking to be moved elsewhere. Houston came out and said that they never intended on trading Brandin Cooks and that they wanted to build around him. This deal is evident of that. He makes upwards of almost $20 million a year, which once again proves he's better than Allen Robinson, like I said. And the fact of the matter is this is a guy that you want on your team. He constantly produces and he doesn't say anything. Year after year after year, he's a 1,000-yard receiver and he just does his job. Is he going to put up numbers like a Davante Adams? No. But can he be the number one on your team? Absolutely. You just got to put some pieces around him and help him build that organization. And he's the kind of high character guy that you want in your organization. And I think that's what Houston is going for. It's not about the flair and the glamour with Houston right now. It's about putting guys in positions that can build a strong foundation and actually have some high character with a front office that hasn't been ran very well in the past. So good for Brandin Cooks. I'm glad he gets paid. He's locked up for another couple of seasons. And this is, again, remember, this is a guy who maybe a couple of years ago contemplated retirement because of concussion issues. And even with those concussion issues, he was still producing. So he's one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL. And, he's got to play with some great quarterbacks. And maybe now he can groom a young quarterback and turn him into a great one. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. AJ, what about you? What were your thoughts on this deal? What should we know about Brandin Cooks in this deal?
I mean, loved it for the Texans, hated it for Brandin Cooks. He's that type of player that it's just so crazy to me. Like watching him get traded from the Saints, from the Patriots, from the Rams, and end up in Houston of all places. It just doesn't feel right. I think he deserves better than to basically spend his career at this point now on teams that are trying their best. Even when he was with teams like, well, not so much the Patriots, obviously, but even when he was with teams like the Rams at that point in time, they really didn't have it all together. So, but I mean, this is a guy who has 1,000 yards in 6 out of 8 of his seasons. He's a talented guy, and it's good for, like you said, a young Davis Mills or whoever they may draft or whoever may come after him to have a go-to receiver. And he gets to be a number one and show what he's capable of. Maybe he can be that receiver that'll turn back time and be able to find another place before his career is over and still have a legitimate chance at being a solid piece on a championship caliber team in the near future. This is only a 2-year contract, so maybe he can get out of it next year and go join an actual contender. But until then, Houston, congrats. You have a very solid receiver. One.
I mean, I think he's I think he's happy. I think he's content with the fact that it's not a team that's probably going to win now. I mean, if you look at his career, he's been a part of 2 Super Bowl teams with the Rams and with the New England Patriots. Yes, they didn't come out on top, but he was a key part in those offenses, and he was big on those teams. And I think he felt that. But I think now, as you get older, I think he wants to be a mentor to young guys, to be able to kind of say, look, we had an organization here that wasn't really anything. We weren't winning. We weren't bringing up young studs. And now he can maybe go get some weapons or help Houston bring in some of these young receivers and mold them into really good players. I honestly think this is a perfect fit for him. I don't think he's the kind of guy that really needs to be on a championship team right now, because most of those championship teams are not going to pay him $20 million a year because they're looking for those guys that are, the Davante Adams of the world, where they're going to pay and then they're going to produce 1,700 yard seasons. And I don't think Brandin Cooks really fits that. I just really like the idea of him staying in Houston for a couple of seasons. He's only 28, so he will get a chance to maybe get paid again on a 1 or 2 year deal in a couple of seasons. But I really like the idea of him coming here, maybe establishing himself as a veteran leadership kind of role model for these young receivers, and maybe turn one of them into a stud, and then he can leave as he gets older, find a championship contender again and say, hey, look, I did my job. I groomed this guy. So I don't know. I really like the Houston idea at this point.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's a great move for the Houston Texans.